Hello traders, it's Jacey with Empire Algorithmic Trading. It is time for Vwapvision's Daily Stock Talk. It's where we use the volume weighted average price to make sense of the market. So let's just get right to it. It's time for a little stock talk. All right, well, as usual, we're just going to start off with the S&P 500. Nice strong gap up above the VWAP here. Good continuation. However, buyers were not able to maintain control of the session. Sellers pretty much took control right away, and especially in the last little bit, kind of the mirror opposite of what happened yesterday. Yesterday, you had a strong gap down. Buyers came in, and then today they just ran out of steam, and then sellers came in, particularly in the last 10-15 minutes of the day. So just a ho-hum, just a normal 4.5% move in about 2 days. Nothing to see here. All this means is probably going to be, this move has probably exhausted itself a little bit. I mean, we'll see. Futures were up, I think, okay a little bit after hours. So we might see a test of the VWAP, but regardless, what matters now is what happens around the VWAP and does it maintain this level here. So that's what we're going to look for. Some of these intraday moves kind of disappointing. To be honest with you, I was a little bit more excited when I saw the open. I was thinking, yeah, we're going to see a really nice, strong follow-through, but my hopes became dashed as the day progressed. And then when I started looking at some charts in the afternoon, I was pretty disappointed. I wanted to see a little bit more buying opportunities, a little more stock setting up, but there was really nothing. So that's kind of a downer on a rather positive day. But it's all a process. This is it's just a little bit of time. We need stocks to set up continuously, and so the Nasdaq composite, nice move above its downtrend VWAP. Its all-time high VWAP is still up here around the 18,500. The index is currently at 17.7. So it does have a little bit of resistance still, but it's nice to see it finally clear this downtrend VWAP. So as you can see, it too sold off throughout the day, ended up near the lows on the session. Not a good sign. And then same thing with the small caps. Kind of finding a little bit of resistance at this VWAP that is from its previous high. Let's see if we can get this thing to scroll out here. It's from this previous all-time high from the last bear market back in 2022. That VWAP there, so it's providing a little bit of resistance there. We really want to see this index as well as the mid caps, which kind of had the similar pattern. We really want to see these indexes continue to move higher with the S&P and with the Nasdaq, because unless the market's firing on all cylinders, it's going to be very selective, and we're going to have a lot of failed breakouts. So that's why we want to see them moving on all cylinders. And there was a pretty good sell-off in bonds today. Not anything to get too concerned with at the moment. Again, we just want to see them live above the VWAP. We don't want to see them continuously sell off below that VWAP. It means rates are going up, and that's the last thing equities need right now. So a little bit of not much of a concern, but we're just going to keep an eye on it. And then the VIX, as you would expect with the market selling off, the VIX did drop a little bit. Still pretty elevated at 24.6. You know, 15 to 18 is about the range that it serves as a sweet spot for the market. So we'll see how that goes. But again, still elevated levels. So all that means is just be prepared to take your profits fast and cut your losses even faster. Microsoft. Now, these are the two stocks, Microsoft and Meta, are the big reason why we saw such a nice move on the Nasdaq particularly, and also on the S&P 500. But as you can see, stock opened up, and then the sellers pretty much had control the rest of the day. If you look at the 5-minute chart, opened up, and then it really sold off in the last 15 to 20 minutes. And then same thing with Meta, opened up strong, but just was not able to maintain any momentum, just sold off, and then closed near the session lows. Especially if you look at the intraday chart, traded right up above the VWAP and then just ran into resistance there. So Meta and Microsoft still have a little bit of work to do, and that's a big reason why we saw the Nasdaq and the S&P 500 have those little downward arrows that you saw today. But it wasn't just the big mega caps. It was going kind of across the board. Carvana, similar action on Carvana. However, we are seeing a lot of stocks hit some initial profit target points. So hopefully if you bought into some of these, you're already taking some profits out and you're protecting yourself, providing a little bit of a cushion, because there is probably going to be some backfilling and some testing going on here. So if you take profits on the way up, that gives you a chance to ride some of that volatility down. So Carvana, recent breakout that has hit profit levels. Same thing with Zscaler. Argan, HEX, similar situation. It tried to shake out yesterday in that big strong rally from the bottom all the way through the close, carried up into today, a nice strong gap up. However, it followed the same pattern. It rallied up and then sold off throughout the day. Look at Guardant Health, same thing. This actually happened, this big first 5-minute candle here. So it did kind of hold up throughout the day. So it looks a little worse on the 1 day than it does on the 5-minute. But nonetheless, it opened up strong and then sold off throughout the day. Landbridge, similar thing, very close to hitting its early profit targets. Same thing with Paymentus. I believe that hit a pretty close profit target. And then Eaton Pharmaceuticals. So we're seeing quite a few of the recent breakouts start to hit those initial stages of profit targets. Now, why do we take profits here at these? A couple of reasons. One, a lot of stocks will, when they run up 5 to 10% per se, they'll tend to come back and test. They'll tend to pull you down a little bit, and they'll potentially shake you out. What that does is it protects you from that volatility. It lowers your break-even point, so then you can ride that down a little bit more. You can test those VWAPs, you can test those buy points, and then when it sets up a little bit more, then you can add back to the position some of those profits that you utilize to basically get back in, create a bigger holding, which then you can maximize your gains moving forward. So that's one of the reasons why we do that. And the other thing is it's always just good to sell into strength because the stock can just collapse on them 1 day and you just never really know what's going to happen. So same thing with Palantir. Palantir rallied up nice and strong. It's hit a couple of profit target points. It opened up, gapped up, and then sold off throughout the day. That's a negative bearish candle. Not too terribly bad. If it would have closed way down further, then it would have been pretty negative. Very typical look there. TG Therapeutics, a little doji right after a nice run. So that very well could be signaling a little bit of a downturn. And then same thing with Mercado Libre, MELI. Nice strong run. Hopefully people are taking some profits if you did happen to buy these on the red zone breakouts. And then, however, they're not all showing profit targets. We have had some breakouts stall, right? Like BYRN, Burna Technologies. This one hasn't really gone anywhere. It's testing the VWAP, had a potential shakeout yesterday, kind of ran into the buzzsaw of the market selling off today. So we'll see if this can continue up for the next 2 days, particularly on that third day, nice strong move, then that would be another buy signal, and you could see a good move out of Burn. Shopify, it's trying to find a base, it's trying to solidify it, that VWAP, and then continue to move higher. But it opened up strong and then continued to sell off throughout the day. And then Calmain tried to break out, got back down below its VWAP. It's about 4.5% below that buy point, so it hasn't really hit our technical stop, but it's just not the follow through we're looking for. We definitely want to see more positive action, something like Palantir or Argan, Zscaler, for example. But this one, I think this dropped down. Dropped down over 4% yesterday, so that's a failure on our part. That our system just shows anything over 2.5% the day after a breakout. It tends to be a high probability of failure. So probably just take your losses on that one if you bought into that one. Let it set up again and potentially buy back into it. And then Robinhood did report earnings last night and just was not able to maintain maintain the momentum. Opened up strong, sold off throughout the day. So it looks like Robinhood has a little bit of work to do on its potential breakout. Wouldn't be surprised to see some of these lower VWAPs get tested, and maybe even possibly this one down here. It all depends on basically the general market. If we continue to see some pullback on the general market, a lot of these stocks are going to come back with it. So that's why you want to take your profit a little bit early. BioLife Sciences, again, is trying to find a bottom, trying to build a little momentum, but it just kind of can't get going, just can't get out of its way. Arista Networks, now as always, we'd like to talk about stocks that are going to be the next leaders, the stocks that we're looking for. We've got a bunch of stocks that have made some early moves. They're getting into the profit-taking zones where they tend to come back and test a little bit. That's the moment when we want to see new stocks break out. And Arista Networks gapped up right to its VWAP. That's the kind of action we want to see. This is probably a gap up based off of what Meta's earnings and we're saying about capital expenditures and all the money they're spending on AI. And so Arista Networks is a beneficiary of that spending. HIMS gapped up strong the other day, ran right into the VWAP, sold off again yesterday, but then today it looks like the sellers kind of ran out of control, ran out of steam, and buyers came in and pushed this stock right up. So we're going to keep a close eye on HIMS. The algorithm will let us know exactly. We don't really have to watch the chart. It'll tell us when HIMS makes a move. And then Nutex, we've shown this a couple of times. This one rallied up hard, was rallying strong, ran right up into its VWAP, and then continued to sell off. And it just found a floor here. And I was kind of curious. It just looks like I've seen this before, and there's got to be a VWAP there. So I just set an anchor right here just out of curiosity, and sure enough, that's kind of right where the stock found a bottom. So it's always interesting. This is from an earnings gap. It's a very good, strong sign to see stocks that ran up like that find support at the VWAP, starting to move back off of it, especially after a sell signal like this. So that could very well be a nice little trampoline bounce that we could see in the making there with Nutex. And then we've talked about gold and how defensive and how it was on a tear, and it was showing some signs of topping a couple weeks ago, and a lot of the gold stocks were showing signs of topping and change of trend, and that's just coming to fruition right here. Gold has sold off another 2%. It's down quite a bit off of its recent high, but yeah, this is some classic topping patterns right here. Particularly right here, you have a big gap up, and then this bearish candle where it opens up and then just completely engulfs the previous day, sells off hard, and then you follow it up with a big gap down. That's about as clear of a change of trend pattern as you could get. So not a surprise there to see gold coming back. Whether or not it stays this way is obviously the million-dollar question, but right now this upward trend appears to be dead. It needs to go some consolidation and set a base before it can potentially make any move higher. But for the most part, we're in a green zone right now. Very exciting stuff. We need some more stocks to start setting up. We're going to see some tests of those recent successful breakouts, but we need some newer stocks. We need some more blood. Again, I was pretty disappointed at the lack of setups, potential buys that were available today, but it's all kind of suspect with the way that the market was acting. So very well, this run could very well be done. We'll probably see a test of the VWAP down here at the 5,500 range. That's very likely as far as my opinion goes. But what really matters is what the market does. And so it's all follow the process, right? We don't want to trade off of our expectations. We don't want to take positions off of what we expect is going to happen. We want to buy into when we see things happen and sell when we see things happening that confirm what we're thinking. So that's the important part. And right now we're in a green zone. It means we're okay to start taking some risk. We just need to be judicial about it, prudent about taking our losses, and making sure we're not overextending ourselves. So that's it for today's Stock Talk. As always, for more information, you can visit us at Vwapvision.com. And you can also subscribe to our algorithmic daily buy and sell signals at patreon.com/Empire Algorithmic Trading. Once again, for our buy and sell signals, that is patreon.com/Empire Algorithmic Trading. And until then, we will, actually, I suppose it's Sunday. Yeah, it's Thursday. So we'll be off tomorrow. We'll be back on Sunday. Matt will be back. We'll have our weekly review. Hopefully we get a good rally tomorrow, kind of put today's weakness to bed, and we get some good buying opportunities. But we'll talk about all that on Sunday. And in the meantime, everybody, happy trading.